Now we're going to talk about Chapter 19 topics, and specifically right now we're going to focus on sales tax and excise tax. And in many cities and counties and states, certain products are taxed so that the sellers can forward that to the appropriate government agencies. And so most of the time it's taxed as a percentage. And keep in mind that shipping costs are not part of that sales tax. The shipping is added afterwards. So what we're going to do is, in this first example, we're going to find the total receipt value given the information. So we have the selling price of a battery, then there's a trade discount, so that means we're going to subtract that off. We have a shipping charge, which we have to add on at the end, and the sales tax is given as 5%. So the first thing we want to do is subtract off the trade discount. Okay, that will give us, when we take 32 minus 1050, that's going to give us $21.50. And that's the taxable amount. So you want to make sure that the shipping isn't included when you find your tax. And you also want to make sure that you subtract off any discounts first. Okay, then you want to figure out what the tax is. And in this case, the tax rate is 5%. So I want to find 5% of $21.50. So we're going to take $21.50 times 0.05 for the 5% in decimal format. And when we do that, we're going to get that it's $1.08 in tax. So now we have $21.50 plus the tax of $1.08. Oh, and I want to add in also, while we're adding, and then we have to also add in the shipping charge. And that will give us a total of $26.08. And that is with the shipping and with the tax. Okay, the second example, let's see, it says managers often use the cash register to get a summary of their total sales for the day. The total sales figures include the sales tax, so the sales tax must be deducted from the total sales. To illustrate this, we're going to assume that the total sales of the day was $40,000, and this included the 7% sales tax. So this is $40,000 is the amount including the 7% sales tax. So the question is asking, what was the actual amount of sales? So what was the sales before we added on the 7% tax? And if you go back and look at your formula sheet, we had a formula for actual sales. And the formula was where you take the total sales and you divide by 1 plus the rate. So if our total sales was $40,000, that's our total. That was with the 7%. And I take 1 plus the rate. The rate as a decimal would be 0.07. So when I add it to 1, I would get 1.07. And if I take 4,000 and divide it by 1.07, that's going to give us $37,383.18. So this was the amount of sales before the 7% sales tax. So you can check it by taking 7% of the $37,383.18 and adding it in, and that should give you a total of 40,000. Okay, now we're going to talk about excise tax. And an excise tax is an additional tax that a lot of times is given on things that are considered not a necessity or a luxurious item, like maybe cigarettes or a fancy car or something like that. So sometimes you'll get a regular sales tax and then you'll additionally get an excise sales tax on something else. So let's see. It says on June 1st, Angel Rowe bought a fur coat for a retail price of $5,000. The sales tax was 7% and there's an excise tax of 8%. So here's an example of what's considered a luxurious item. It's a non-necessity and there's an excise tax on it for that. And so we're going to take a 7% sales tax and an 8% excise tax and add that in and see what the total is. So we need to find, for the sales tax, we need to find 7% of 5,000. And for the excise tax, we need to find 8% of 5,000. So we're going to just multiply by the appropriate decimal value. So 7% of 5,000 would be 0.07 times 5,000. That would be $350. And that will be our sales tax. Then I'm going to take 8% of 5,000. That's going to be $400 for the excise tax. So now to find the total, we're going to take 5,000 for the cost of the fur coat plus the tax. So that's $350 for the sales tax plus $400 for the excise tax. And when we add that all up, we get $5,750. Okay, last example. Let's see, it says Lois Clark bought a ring for $6,000. She must pay a 5% sales tax, a 10% excise tax, and the jeweler shipping the ring, that's an additional $40 shipping charge. What is the total purchase of Lois's ring? So for the sales tax, we need to find 5% of 6,000. For the excise tax, it's 10% of the 6,000, and then we have to add in the $40 for shipping, and then total it all up. So I need to take 6,000 times 0.05, because that's 5% of the decimal. That's going to give me $300. And then I'm going to take 6,000 times 0.10. That's going to give me $600 for the excise tax. And so when we add this all up, I have 6,000 plus 300 plus 600 plus the 40 for the shipping. That will give me a total of $6,940.